Ladies and gentlemen, Patrick Frost, owner of Elegant Landscaping, in the building. Patrick, thank you for taking the time to drive up here from what part of Missouri do you call that?
Rolla.
Rolla, okay,
Yeah.
so it's not quite
In Missouri.
the Boot Heel. My dad worked for years in the Boot Heel and did a lot of college recruiting for a little college based out of Fayette, Missouri. And a lot of good people down there. He just said this is the salt of the earth kind of people he would talk about, and really just do great stuff to really work hard. We had a great little pregame discussion here about that, essentially saying the world is, and it's kind of been this way historically, especially ever since the last big revolution in our little planet some 60, 80 years ago. There's always somebody trying to rule the world, they say, right? And so, but hard work was kind of what it boiled down to between you and I with this discussion. Always pays off. Is that fair to say?
It does. It seems like more than ever today, those who work hard are reaping the benefits to some extent. But really, I don't see it any other way than to work hard, because I grew up poor with 10 in my family. I'm number 8 of 10, 7 boys and 3 girls. And that's how we were taught. That was the only way we were taught was if you wanted to eat, you had to work around the house.
Well, with that, we'll get into a little bit of a discussion with our sponsors, because these are some people that have worked really hard over the years. And when you get down to what it is that pays off and how you get done the work that you need to get done, it's that dedication and hard work. So my buddy Brooke Dubman, Carroll House Furniture, shout out to Carroll House, because you like nice things in your little castle. As you can see, we've got that on the wall there for everybody to enjoy. And then, of course, most people do know we are proud sponsorees. Is that what you call it? But we have a little partnership. I have my mortgage license. A lot of people don't know that. But I've had that for a couple of years now. It tied into the marketing side of the world. That way they can actually legally pay me for loans that come in that I work on. But you can't do that if you don't have your mortgage license. That I've developed through the marketing side of the world that we do. But with that, let's jump right in here, because the discussion just got really exciting that I'm having with Patrick here, because his philosophy, his strategy towards life, I think, is one that exemplifies what we all have learned, if you will, that makes life better, that makes life worth living, and what we're all really here for. So with that, Patrick, talk to me a little bit about why you love what you're doing and why you started a company doing landscaping.
Well, I think ultimately I just wanted to get out of a chair from sitting in an office, and I just wanted to be outside in the sun. But after my first few jobs, successful jobs, let's just say, I realized that I was doing more than just benefiting myself, making a paycheck, and getting kind of toned up while working outside in the heat or the sun or whatever. I realized that I was actually changing lives. Maybe even helping some people, through therapy with these ponds or walkways or beautiful gardens that we would install, and the compliments that we got over the years following. I knew that we were changing lives. I knew that we were onto something.
Well, that's essentially the whole show, everybody. We just summed up the whole show. The Your Little Castle show is about creating your little castle, and who are the experts that make that happen. And so with that, you can see Patrick here has taken the time and energy to do that, and somebody who has started a company now that's been successful. You've been doing this for, is it 25 years?
25 years, since 1998.
1998.
Yeah, it shows you how old I am.
Well, I noticed you talk about all the important things that we need to focus on, and like my hair is a little messed up. I know
my hair's a little messed up.
Patrick did a little extra to get his hair set for this interview today, but we want to talk about those things that make a difference in our little planet and how you get there. So tell me, what was the path that led you here? When you said you just wake up one day as a kid, you're like, when I grow up, this is what I want to do. How did you get here?
Well, honestly, I just was unhappy with the job that I had. I was assistant manager at an Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and my wife and I had gotten married in our front yard of our first home. We had put quite a bit of money into that home, into the front yard, especially with a pond and a pergola, sod, lighting, and so we got married there. And after we got married, we just had a lot of people stop by and literally knock on our door. And this was back in the day when people actually knocked on someone's front door and would talk to somebody face to face. And they said, "Who did your landscaping?" And I said, "Well, I did." And we also hired a contractor in town as well to kind of help with some of the bigger things I couldn't do at the time. And so my point is these people, I could tell there was a need for another landscape company in our area. And not just another landscape company, but a company that would provide something unique, something different, something elegant. And so, honestly, I have to give everything that my business is, everything that I am to my wife, because she's the one that inspired all of that.
Well, she happens to be in the building here. She's over here helping us document everything. She's got her camera going too. We don't mind if you come in the studio and want to record and take pictures. We've put a lot of work into making the studio so that we can show off the good work that you've put together. And so we're going to bunch of pictures. We're going to share some of your awesome work. We talk about elegant. When you really look at it, this is elegant, beautiful work, everybody. And we're going to get into that in just a minute. But we have a few kind of lead-in questions because I want to know a little bit more about how you got here, why you got here, the things that led you here, why you do the things you do, because we're always looking for those leaders who've made it happen. As an example, that's what so we can put in front of everybody and say, this is how we do it, right? And because I wanted to showcase those people because that's what I think most people, they're lacking here. They get out of college, they get out of high school, what level they decided to go to there, and they're like, now what do I do? I see these people, I see the final work, I see their nice houses they live in, and apparently they're doing well, but how did they get there? And that's what the show really gets to exemplify, and I think you're a great example of that. So thank you for coming on here to talk about this.
Thank you for having me, Carter. I really appreciate it.
Well, and with that, let's talk a little bit more. 25 years in the business, tell me along that path, when you were really getting into it, when did you really decide early on, this is what I want to do for the rest? This is for the rest of your life kind of thing. You've done it for 25 years now. You're still pretty young. You started so young.
Yeah. Well,
how did that path go? So you said, I've got it now. We figured this out. It wasn't just somebody knocking on my door saying, how did you do this? Well, I did it myself. It took off to the next level. How did you get to that next level?
Well, we started small, obviously, just like with any other business. Basically we just started out. My dream didn't come forth, let's say up front by producing all these magnificent homes with big landscape projects and whatnot. That actually took time. So I had to build a rapport with my clientele. So we started by mowing grass, trimming shrubs, leaf removal, and those are what I call the growing years, the growing pains, because that wasn't really what I wanted to do. But that's how we had to get our foot in the door and make a name for ourselves in our small community. And so it really wasn't till about 2003, maybe 2004, when we were finally able to start producing some jobs that we could brag about and so to speak, some of the bigger landscape jobs, as well as commercial projects that we've done. And so it took time. It was these were growing pains. And so about 2003, we sold our lawn business to a competitor about 25 miles away. And then so we just decided to solely go landscaping. So by 2003, well, let's just say prior to 2003, we were a lawn care and landscape company. But by 2003, I knew landscaping was the direction I wanted to go. So a lot of these lawn care companies, the reason why they struggle to do landscaping is not because they're not artistic or they don't have the ability to do it. They can't be pulled in two directions. It's very difficult. That would be like a, let's say a masonry guy doing concrete flat work, say driveway work or something. That'd be very difficult because that's two different types of businesses. So in 2003, we let our lawn care business go, and we decided to go all in with the landscape business, and it really paid off. And so by by 2004, we were grossing $500,000 a year with 11 employees by 2004. So we were growing fairly quickly, and the word had got out. And so by 2006, 2007. I mean, the sky was the limit.
Great detail there, ladies and gentlemen. So that's the essence of what we really want to hear, and it comes out there. I think one of the most important things I talk to people about, the single most, not is it one thing that makes for somebody's success. It's hard to say there's one thing, but one of the most important, and I'd say one of the most, if it is the single thing, focus. I think that's what you were saying there. Because you've got two separate businesses, you got to run them. They are similar, but they're not related. But if you want to be the best, you really got to focus. You got to zoom in.
Focus and consistency. As I say with anything, consistency is key.
Agreed.
And by staying consistent, by saying to myself, even from the beginning, landscaping is what I want to do, not lawn care. I don't want to trim shrubs. I don't want to mulch beds. I don't want to remove leaves. I want to do landscaping. That's where I felt that I could be more creative. I could really change lives, and maybe be a longer lasting business over time. I think I felt.
Now we're really hitting on it, everybody, because I actually did write notes down. This pen, everybody thinks this is a prop. It is a prop, but it also does let me to write. And right there, I wrote down two important notes because I'm going to start using the sheet all the time, and you helped me to take note of those 2 points: focus and consistency. Because so many people start something, they get going, they actually have a little bit of success, then they have a little hurdle, right?
Yeah.
Something goes on, and they go, I don't know, and then the consistency falls off. Where if they would have just kept going, they would have overcome that hurdle too, making them stronger and then be better at what they do. Talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, Americans are known to just restart something. If they can't stick it out, or let's say things become difficult, well, I don't need that anymore. I'm going to go do this because I have options. And while this is still the greatest country in the world, we are kind of spoiled. We have so many options. Where we have things at our fingertips, and that can even be, with relationships. That friend upset me, so I'm just going to move on and go to this other thing. So staying consistent, just getting up and fighting every day. Good things take time. Anything good in life is going to take time, and it's going to take hard work. It's going to take a lot of effort, and that's important. And it's important to not look at these things on the back burner and say, well, I have this other option here as a backup if my primary goal or dream doesn't pan out. And I think that's a problem, again, with us Americans is when things get tough, we bail and we go to the next thing, or what we feel is the next best thing. But if we would have just toughed it out, we would have realized that we were on that hump of the hill. We just didn't know it, but we were on that hump getting ready to go down that hill. And if we would have just stuck it out a little bit further, we could have rode all the pain, all the heartache. We could have just rode it, to the bottom, so to speak.
And the easy slope down the hill because the hard work was getting up the hill.
That is correct. That is correct. So a lot of people actually quit. They just quit too soon. So I see that in the gym. I'm in the gym several times a week. I'm a runner. I'm a competitive runner. I'm up here in St. Louis almost every weekend. I'm up here every weekend in the spring and fall as a competitive racer and runner. And I see that with a lot of people who take on running or they get a new membership at the gym. They just quit too soon. And a lot of people got a lot more talent than I do. I'm not a talented person. I don't have talent. I don't have the genetics, so to speak, to be the best, maybe even the best landscaper. Sometimes I don't feel I'm the most creative, but I won't stop fighting until I figure it out. One way or another, I'm gonna come up with that design or that plan, or one way or another, I'm gonna make this goal or this dream come true by a little bit more hard work.
This show's turned into one of the most exciting for me because that's the message we try to convey over and over again. And somebody who survived a coma, we've brought that up a number of times. If this is the first time you're watching our show, yes, yours truly was hit by a drunk driver, was in a coma caused by somebody else's negligence, right? I was in the back seat of a car and then woke up 7 days later, pulling a ventilator out of my own throat. And then I could have easily been the victim. That was part of what essentially was starting to be programmed into me by the experts, by the doctors. Carter's not going to be able to do the things he was previously capable of. And I just said, I didn't say out loud any expletives, but in my mind I was thinking, hey, I'm going to go do this anyway. And I think there's so many people that fall victim to that, and they have so much less happen to them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They get their boyfriend will break up, the husband, wife, the dog pees on the. I've heard literally I had a girl tell me my dog might pee on the floor. I don't know. Holy manoli, we got some big problems we got to deal with here, much larger than the dog peeing on the floor. These are little things to overcome, and once you realize, you start to overcome some obviously much larger than a dog peeing on the floor. But once you start to overcome some, and I hate to imagine anybody has to go through a coma like I did, but those kinds of hurdles, once you've learned you can overcome those, now the world is
Yes.
at your fingertips,
At your fingertips.
To go conquer.
That's
And
right.
that's what you kind of exemplify I'm talking about here.
And how did you get through that? You fought. You fought every day. You took it one day at a time. Some days were 1 hour at a time. Weren't they, Carter?
Oh yeah, there were sometimes 7 minutes at a time.
I
And
understand
was
that.
I going to take my next breath, and was I going to pull? And so my parents. Anyway, that's where we really want to talk about the leaders in our community. And so Patrick and I had a great little discussion before the show. What were we really going to get into? And that's the essence behind business. Business is all about creating that success, sticking with it. And the point I wanted to emphasize along, tell me if you agree with this, and that is, so many people, they're afraid about the commitment. Oh my gosh, that's going to take so much work. And in my mind, I say, let's think about this from the big picture. And that is, if you're willing to put that work in for 5, 10 years, that's a whole lot less work than muddling around for 30 years.
That's right.
Never getting there because you never spent the time to focus. You never put the energy and respect in towards whatever it was you were working at. And now you've cost yourself 30 years of just floating around. People, I make the joke, people take more time and energy making excuses than they would have had to do just the effort necessary to just get the job done and go do it.
That's right.
And there's that problem that's a problem with the human design, if you will. It's not exclusive to Americans or any part, but the humans, I think in general, that's where we get caught. And nobody says to them, stop wasting your time trying to take a shortcut. You're costing yourself, because if you would dedicate, I have a good friend who's been on the show. He says, Carter, if you really want to make it in America, you need to dedicate 5 years. You work really, really hard with your own business typically, because you're working for somebody else. You know who's making the money there. But if you work your own business for 5 years really hard, he said even as little as 3, then really hard. Turn around, now you're making $300,000, $400,000 a year. Now you're set for life. These are the kind of efforts that people are not willing to take because they're afraid of what it might lead, and they don't know the outcome if they just persist. Is that fair to say?
And, to maybe put that in a little bit of a nutshell is it's not always about the money. It's things in life aren't always about money, although with some people it is. But for me, happiness equals success. And if you can be your own boss, for example, where I stand or where I sit, I feel like I'm succeeding because I am my own boss. I'm not a millionaire or anything. I don't care to be a millionaire, but what I do care about is having employees who are happy, having clients who are happy, and in return, I'm happy because I love what I do. I truly love my job, and I think it shows in our work. Yes, there are a lot of jobs that we've done over the last 25 years. A lot of them I have wanted to quit and walk away and say, why is this happening to me? Why am I losing some crew members? Or why won't this rain stop? Why are we getting these floods? Or why won't the weather cooperate? Why is the machinery breaking down? Those are some of those jobs are the jobs that you just want to walk away and quit. But I don't have that option. I don't have that choice because of how I was raised with a Marine father. We don't give up. We don't quit. We don't walk away. We suck it up, and we get through it. Just like right now, we're going through in our area. We had our driest spring on record since 2012, and then recently we've had about 4 weeks of literally flooding down in Rolla. We've had so much rain that we just have been able to do very little work as of lately. But the weather, the skies cleared, the seas parted, and the grounds are drying back up again, and we'll get back to work. you know, and that's how it goes.
This will also
This too shall pass.
there it is. This too shall pass. My girlfriend just said it to me the other day, and it's a great quote because there's so much in life that is difficult, hurdles. I mean, it's almost as if there weren't hurdles, life wouldn't be worth living, because those are the things
That's
that help
right.
you realize the sense of achievement and going out and doing something. And you're right. I want to back you up on that. The money is not the critical piece.
Correct.
The money allows you to do some more things so that you can help.
It's a
other people.
tool. It's a vehicle.
It's a vehicle to get you
to
there.
get us where we need to go and help us to get those things that we need. But
and it leads to that happiness.
it does,
and happiness for others that you can help too.
yeah, and that's another problem that we're seeing with this country is very few people are happy anymore. We choose to argue and fight and bicker on the internet versus get along or help others. Something that I'm personally trying to do myself is just help people. Just for example, the other day there was a struggling mom, and I gave her some money to have her nails painted because that was a big deal to her. She has a couple kids, and it was important to me, and it makes me feel good if I can help somebody. That person doesn't owe me anything, but it's just something that I think we should do more of is help each other. And sometimes we do jobs where we don't even charge the client. I bet that happens 2 or 3 times a month. We don't pay bills that way, but I feel better about it because we're helping someone. And I think that's important to do that. I feel better, and if it makes me feel better, then I'm going to keep doing that. I wish I could do more, and hopefully as I get older and get more financially stable, I hope I can do that more.
Well, and that to me is the essence of what we're all really here for on this little planet. And
Yes.
it gets lost in the mix because everybody's so consumed, and they see these Lamborghinis and big swimming pools and all
Yeah.
this stuff. And that isn't what makes people happy. I've studied this. If you actually studied the suicide rate for millionaires is double
Yes.
the average human on this little planet.
Yeah, money truly does not make you happy, even though people say, well, give me a chance. I just want one chance. No, you don't. I don't think you do. I don't think you want that chance. I wouldn't want that chance. I would not want to be a multi-billionaire. If I wanted to be that, I certainly would not be in the landscape industry. Although you can make millions in this business if you work hard enough and you're in the right environment. Again, my job equals happiness. I love what I do. I love the letters that I get sent to us. I love the feedback I get from clients when they say thank you for that irrigation that you installed 5 years ago. It has saved us so much time and money. We've been able to go on vacations without having to worry about watering these bedding areas or the lawn or these walkways that you put in or the French drains that you installed around our home. We can now sleep well at night knowing through these thunderstorms that our basement isn't going to flood anymore and our children's playroom is not going to get flooded. I think lately, with the weather changes that we've had in the drastic weather changes that we've had in the last 10 years, this torrential flooding that we've received in our area, even up here in St. Louis area, y'all have had a lot of flooding as well. I think that's the most rewarding for me is to know that we've solved someone's home from leaking, from what I would call an invasion. You could be invaded with pests or maybe impure air or water, and no one wants water in their home. So it's very rewarding, in all type of aspects of what we do in our business. But lately with these helping people with French drains and foundation repair work, it's been so gratifying.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are 24 minutes into the show. We have a 28-minute recording time for each show, 30 seconds. I'm going to go through a couple of really important things we need to cover so you understand everything you need to know about Patrick and why you should use their services. Serving the Rolla area, serving the area of our community just south of St. Louis, not too far. We drove through there last night, ran into that same construction area you went through this morning. But yeah, literally making a difference on our little planet. So let's jump in here real quick if I can. And then reminder, we are going to record another entire half hour that we will put out on the social media. We'll put it out, and we might even air it later on ABC. So tune in here because Patrick has some great information. I won't call it knowledge. We're not trying to talk like we're some gurus here, but we really want to share some great insight to help people understand what this planet is all about. And that's why we do this show, everybody. So with that, I'm going to put up on the wall, this is your Facebook page. And inside of there, you've got all kinds of great information. But with that, I'm going to switch over now because you've got a bunch of pictures on your Facebook. But we've got them now here on the wall. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit on these. But tell us about each one of these, as you can see there a little bit, of some of the work you've done.
Yeah, we do residential and commercial. And, mostly today we do hardscapes. We're big into retaining walls, patios, walkways, irrigation systems. Believe it or not, landscaping itself, bedding areas, plants, shrubs, we're seeing less and less of it, especially in the last 3 years. And sometimes with some of these businesses or homes, less is more. They just want the ultimate low maintenance package. And sometimes that just requires just a few plantings, a few shrubs, just minimal amounts of color. But the big things today is just ultimate low maintenance. Hardscaping is huge. Foundation repair is a very large part of our business. Concrete work is also on the up and up with our business. And stamping will be the next latest, greatest thing that we'll be taking on in 2024 with concrete stamping.
Right.
It is just huge in the bigger cities as well. So we want to be able to offer concrete work or pavers as well, like we've always done in the past.
We'll take a look here a little bit more of the work here. This is a before picture. This is, now you can see there, things have been torn out, leveled, ready to go, and pretty good looking work to follow up with here. There's some in-between work, laying it down, putting out. Tell us what the process here, what's going on here a little bit.
Well, this is a three-piece paver stone walkway that we did for a 5-time repeat client of ours. And basically, we just excavate the area. We'll remove the sod, the soil. We'll excavate down about 6 to 7 inches, sometimes 8 inches, until we hit hard pan, which is clay or rock. And then after we remove and dispose of that debris, then we'll come in with what we call a base rock or fines, which will be about 3 to 5 inches. We'll compact it with a heavy machine compactor. And then after that, we'll start to install the paver stone edging or the border. And we'll stake that in with 10-inch spikes and to basically design our border.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we've already finished up the first show. We're going to show some more great work here from Patrick. A lot of reviews he's got that are dynamite. Stay tuned for more. This has been the Your Little Castle Show. We've got more information for you coming up. Giddy up.